So great. Hey, we appreciate your time here on the NBC 6 News at 4. The news at 5 starts right now.
Now at 5 o'clock, a personal foul. A UM football player behind bars accused of attacking his pregnant ex-girlfriend. We're live.
Then we now know who will be Runcie's replacement and become the new face of Broward County Public Schools for now.
And are masks back? Why the White House is now considering asking Americans to mask up once again. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on our new home, our new set. I'm Juwan Strader.
And I'm Jackie Nespro. Thanks for joining us on such an exciting day. All that and much more right now.
NBC 6 News starts with breaking news.
We have that breaking news right out of Coral Springs. Another building in South Florida ordered to be vacated over safety concerns after the deadly Surfside building collapse. You're taking a look at it right now. People who live in the Villa Bianco condominium are being told they have to be out in 2 weeks.
Officials say that the 16-unit condo failed to complete its 40-year building inspection, which was required in 2016. A judge also cites the building's further deterioration as reason for the evacuation. We'll continue to monitor this breaking news story throughout the afternoon. You can always go online at NBC6.com for more information. Also now at 5 o'clock, off the field and straight to jail. A Canes player is now behind bars accused of attacking his pregnant ex-girlfriend.
And NBC6's Johnny Archer is live in Southwest Miami-Dade with what we know tonight. Johnny.
Jackie and Juwan, these are serious allegations this player faces, and he was once considered one of the best safeties in the country for the class of 2020. But instead of playing defense on the field, he's now defending himself in court.
It's a second-degree felony. It's very violent. The victim was 31 weeks pregnant.
Thursday afternoon, University of Miami football star Avante Williams facing a Miami judge for allegedly beating up his ex-girlfriend, who's pregnant with his child.
I got a message earlier this morning that the victim wanted to appear in court about not having a stay-away order.
She's 31 weeks pregnant, and he's throwing her around and pulling her by the hair, picking her up, throwing her to the ground. I'll do a stay-away order anyway, even if she doesn't want one, so it doesn't matter.
Miami-Dade police say the 20-year-old sophomore safety got into an argument with his ex about Williams being involved with another woman. That argument turning violent at their Hammocks apartment where they lived together. Police were called and arrested Williams Wednesday.
Sir, how much money can you afford for a bond, if any?
I have coaches. I play for the University of Miami. I have coaches that's willing to help me.
The University of Miami putting out a statement in part saying they are aware about the arrest and have immediately suspended Williams from all team activities. A promising athlete who can now lose so much.
And Williams has to stay at least 500 feet away from the victim, who did receive bruises on her arms and her neck, according to the police report. And his bond, Williams, that has been set at $7,500 for aggravated battery on a pregnant woman, who will also be placed on house arrest with a GPS monitor. In Southwest Miami-Dade, Johnny Archer, NBC 6 News.
Johnny, thank you. Also now at 5 o'clock, Robert Runcie's replacement has been found, at least for now. Broward has been searching for a new school superintendent after Runcie was arrested for lying to a grand jury.
So the big question is, who's the new face of Broward schools? NBC6's Ari Adzer is live in Fort Lauderdale with the story. Ari.
So the choices, Jackie, were between two obviously qualified candidates, or even possibly going with somebody who was already on the school district staff. But after interviewing both of the candidates who applied for the job, the school board went with Dr. Vicki Cartwright. She was once deputy superintendent of the Orange County School District in Orlando, and most recently, she was the superintendent of the Oshkosh School District in Wisconsin.
Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody says she has tested positive for COVID. Moody tweeted last night that she got the vaccine earlier this year. No word yet on which shot she got, but the Attorney General says she's only experiencing mild symptoms and that her family is in good health. Moody remains in quarantine.
Coming up on the NBC 6 News at 5 o'clock is what many have been waiting for.
That's right. Weeks after the historic protests in Cuba, the Biden administration announces new sanctions on the regime. What are they? We're live with reaction ahead.
Kids drowning in pools. It's a tragedy that happens way too often here in South Florida. Coming up, we'll show you the new drowning detection system that could save your child's life.
Then you won't believe what hit one of these girls in the face as they launched into the air on a ride at an amusement park. The video you have to see next.
So
So what's the deal with the cardboard beds at the Olympic Village? We took a closer look and it finds out it's all about sustainability.
And you know the story, if it doesn't rain, it gets really hot. Today's high temperatures into the mid-90s in many spots in South Florida. I've got the forecast next.
NBC6 First Alert Weather, certified most accurate 8 years in a row.
All right, folks, so here in South Florida today, not a lot in the way of rainfall, and because of that, we've had plenty of sun and very hot temperatures. I will show you where there has been some rain over the last hour or so. Some showers threatening or moving close to Coral Springs, as you can see. This is along the Sawgrass Expressway. Some of the showers moving towards Tamarack, but dying out as they slide towards the southeast. So you're probably not going to get too much rainfall from this in Tamarack. Other showers that were in inland parts of Miami-Dade County, as you look at Chrome Avenue here, well, those are dying out as well, well out over the Everglades. All right, so because of the lack of rainfall, dangerous heat was present today in South Florida. Our heat index was above 105 degrees. This is the second day in a row that's happened. You know, when you're out exercising, for example, or even a brisk walk in those type of conditions, it can be dangerous. You can get heat-related illnesses with a heat index that high. The good news is there's a front entering the state. Well, good news and bad news. What it's going to do is it's going to lead to more thunderstorms in South Florida beginning tomorrow with the risk of heavy rain. You should plan for greater than 3-inch rainfall accumulations heading into this weekend. Now listen, today's high temperature of 94, which I showed you just before the commercial break, sounds really hot, but it's not quite a record. The record is 96, set way back in 1942. The low last night, 81 degrees, certainly steamy nights, and about 3 degrees above normal for this time of the year. Your current temperature readings are generally in the 90s, including Miami at 90 and Fort Lauderdale at 91. Kendall and Opelika, both the hot spots, at 92 right now. Key West, you're at 87, but with plenty of humidity, so it feels like 97 in Key West right now. Feels like 104 in Kendall, Miami, Opelika, and look at this. Talk about dangerous heat. That is dangerous heat. Pembroke Pines, 108 is the feels like reading right now. You know, you do not want to be out jogging, for example, in that type of heat. It's just dangerous at this hour. All right, so this is the front I'm talking about. Now, it's not going to make it all the way to South Florida, but it's going to come close. And the fact that there's a front in the state not only helps focus some rainfall close to that frontal boundary, but also it's going to change our wind steering currents, and thunderstorms are going to start parking themselves over Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and the southeast coast of the state. So as you look at the future tracker, this is for your Friday. In the morning, a risk of showers along the coast, but the best chance of rain is going to be towards the afternoon. Probably numerous showers and thunderstorms affecting the metro area for tomorrow. Here's your forecast for tonight. Certainly warm and humid. Another very warm night with a low temperature of 80 degrees. Then tomorrow, I'm calling for a 60% rain chance. That's much higher coverage than today. 70% Saturday, 60% Sunday. You get the idea. We're headed into a stormy set of days here in South Florida.
John, thank you. Well, we've all seen the funny videos of people screaming their heads off while on a slingshot ride.
Yeah, but you're about to see a teenager who found herself screaming for an entirely different reason. Take a look.
Happy birthday!
Yep, birthday girl Georgia Reed didn't even notice when friend Kylie Holman got smacked in the face by a seagull about a second after liftoff in Wildwood, New Jersey. As you can see, the 13-year-old quickly removed the bird from her face, then kept on screaming. A much calmer Kylie shared her story with our sister station in Philadelphia.
I didn't want to fall out of the ride, so I waited it to spin over once, and then I quickly grabbed it and threw it off.
Were you scared, or were you seemed pretty calm?
No, I always wanted to catch a seagull, so I guess that's my way of catching it.
She's very cool. Well, Holman says that she has no plans to ride that slingshot again. I don't blame you. As for the seagull, it flew off, apparently leaving just only a few feathers behind.
You gotta love that story. All right, coming up in sports, a new forfeit rule has been handed down by the NFL to incentivize vaccinations. Details of this, what this will mean for teams and players next. Plus, new details of legendary Seminoles coach Bobby Bowden's medical condition surface. We'll tell you about Bobby's biggest battle when we return.
NBC 6 News starts with breaking news.
Right now at 5:30, Chopper 6 up over a scare ahead of the music festival taking place right here in South Florida. A partial stage collapse. Good evening once again, and thank you for sticking with us. I'm Jawan Strader.
And I'm Jackie Nespro. Let's get right out to NBC 6's Jamie Garola live in Miami Gardens with more. Jamie, anyone hurt out there?
No, not that we know of, not yet. Of course, we are waiting for an official update from the fire department. We've got calls out to them. I'm here in one of the entrances for Hard Rock Stadium. Let's show you chopper video right away of what it is we're talking about, a partial stage collapse. We believe it involved some sort of large jumbo TV screen that collapsed or fell and forced the stage to collapse. We do not think that anybody was hurt, although we are waiting on confirmation for that. The festival hasn't even started yet. The festival begins tomorrow. It's a 3-day event. It's already a rocky start. First of all, last year it was postponed because of the pandemic. Second of all, we've got this partial stage collapse. And then also we learned today of two arrests of two performers who were slated to appear here, I think tomorrow night. Those rappers were arrested on fugitive warrants. They are wanted in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. One of them reportedly charged with 7 counts of attempted murder. We are working on getting that information for you as well. We do know that both of those rappers were arrested, booked at TGK, and one of them waived extradition. So a rocky start here to Rolling Loud here that is going to begin tomorrow night. We are still trying to gather information about this. We just happen to be here working on the other story regarding the rappers being arrested. We are currently in a gate parking area where employees hang out, or actually, where employees park. Again, very little information except what we see on the chopper, what we believe a jumbo screen fell and possibly caused a partial stage collapse. Unsure of any injuries, but we do know the festival does not begin until 1 o'clock tomorrow. And of course, this was all pushed back, delayed, postponed a year ago because of the pandemic. And so now they have to deal with this, and we're going to wait to hear from the fire marshal and from the fire department about any injuries and what sort of damage they're looking at. And also, of course, what other precautions they may take for the weekend. Reporting live tonight from Miami Gardens, Jamie Garola, NBC 6 News.
Jamie, thanks. And also tonight, have you been having a hard time buying a used car? Well, you're not the only one. Demand is at an all-time high, and NBC 6's Cristian Benavides joins us live now from Davie with why this might be a good thing if you're trying to sell. Cristian. Now at 6, the Biden administration issues new sanctions on Cuba over human rights abuses.
A UAM player booted from the field what he's accused of doing that landed him behind bars.
And in the wake of the tragedy at Surfside, buildings across South Florida are under a microscope. Tonight, another one has been deemed unsafe.
Live, the news on NBC 6 starts now.
We begin here in Miami Gardens, Chopper 6 over Hard Rock Stadium, where part of a stage has collapsed, and there's no word yet if anyone was injured.
Now, the stage is for the Rolling Loud Festival set to take place at Hard Rock Stadium starting tomorrow.
Thanks for that. And we've been hearing a lot about the Global Magnet Sky Act. So you may be wondering, what exactly is that? The law authorizes the president to impose economic sanctions and deny entry into the United States to any foreign person identified as engaging in human rights abuse or corruption. It was originally passed back in 2012, named after a Russian accountant who was tortured and found dead in his jail cell for his role in exposing a giant tax fraud scheme. High-level Russian government officials believed to be involved were sanctioned. And stay with us for continuing coverage of the crisis in Cuba. We'll stay on top of all of the developments throughout the day and keep you updated on air, online, and on the NBC6 app.
Well, it's a reckoning after the condo collapse in Surfside. Since the tragedy, local leaders have been cracking down on building inspections.
NBC6 reporter Steve Litz is live from Northwest Miami-Dade tonight with a look at the audits being done across South Florida. Steve?
And hi, Jackie. This is the Lakeview Gardens complex behind me. You remember we were out here last week talking about how the facade of the roof fell down. It's still on the ground over there. That one building had to be evacuated, and a resident just told me they're working to get the electricity back on, flick some of the circuit breakers inside to get some air moving inside, and to reignite some of those refrigerators and freezers inside. After that situation in Surfside, the collapse, Miami-Dade's mayor ordered that buildings all over the region be inspected, and now that process is over now. 41 buildings met the criteria for the inspections. The result is no serious structural issues were found, and those inspections were based on a visual observation of the outside of the building. Broward County asked its cities to inspect residential buildings as well, some 30 municipalities, and specifically focus on the ones which were due for their 40-year recertification last year. So the report says Lauderdale Lakes didn't respond. Plantation, Hillsborough Beach, and Dania Beach completed the process with no significant repairs needed, and the 9 cities in Broward are still in that process. We did report to you how there are a handful of buildings in South Florida with urgent needs. At least one big building had to be evacuated. Certainly there is a heightened awareness because of Surfside. An architect I spoke with told me people should have confidence in the way county and building officials are approaching the bigger picture of this issue. And he did tell me that construction projects here in South Florida are scrutinized.
The Biden administration imposed sanctions on Cuba for the repression of peaceful protests that broke out in the island last week. The sanctions mark the first steps by the administration to apply pressure on the Cuban regime, with Washington facing louder calls to show support for the embattled protesters.
Another condo building in South Florida is declared unsafe. The city of Coral Springs says that the Villa Bianca condominium failed to complete its 40-year building inspection, which was required 5 years ago. Tenants have been told to leave by August 5th. The city is working to provide temporary housing.
The University of Miami has dismissed safety Avante Williams from the football team. The move comes after Miami-Dade police arrested the top young player. He's accused of attacking his ex-girlfriend, who is 31 weeks pregnant with his child.
And that is it for the NBC6 News at 6.
But before we go, a live look at Tokyo, Japan, as we're just one day away from the opening ceremony. It's 7:29 in the morning, a new day and an eventful one as Olympians get ready.
And NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt is next.